name's Deborah Lando, and welcome to my garden. I'm a master gardener with OSU, and I've taken the Permaculture Design Certificate program. And besides that, I basically came from a California ranching family who taught me from the time I was young how to garden and how to garden with health in mind and to live self-sustainably with the land. This chapter of the Seed to Supper program is about pests and weeds. And I'm excited actually to teach it because there's so many great ways to have harmony in your garden so that you don't even need to have any outside intervention, and you can enjoy the beauty of your yard as you plant it. If you don't want weeds, then plant and fill those beds like crazy with every possible plant that you have loved and adored. Now in this chapter in the Seed to Supper program are what they call companion plants. For instance, basil and peppers go great together, or basil and tomatoes, or everything. They'll give you a list with that chart of companion plants, and plant as many of those things as you can. A weed is nothing more than a plant that's in an area that perhaps you didn't grow yourself, or it volunteered, as we say when a plant does that itself. It's a volunteer. For instance, the dandelion. Oh my gosh, we are always ripping out the dandelion. Well, the dandelion is one of the greatest herbal plants and great for the human body. And so that symbiotic relationship, part of what you'll learn as you keep gardening is what works and what doesn't in a garden, and what's considered a weed may not necessarily be a weed after all, and it has some benefit for you and the pollinators that come and visit your plants and flowers. Because 3 years ago, when I planted 16 4-inch digitalis on the other side of my fence line, I had no idea that this would happen, which is one of the most spectacular things you'll ever see. The pollinators love it, and also because the growth is so dense, there's very little weeding that needs to be done. All I do is fertilize. Occasionally I'll get some weeds out of here, but for the most part, weeds can't grow in here. There's no room for them because Mother Nature it's growing. What's growing is what I put in the ground. And of course, we love berries, so we have the blueberries, strawberries, and the digitalis, the foxglove. Now, let me hop to pests for just a minute. One of the largest pests in the world that is frustrating to me is the deer. So when we got here, when we bought this land, we put up a perimeter fence here, which is 7 feet high, and then we did another one on the other side of my property to protect the plant life that I have. However, there's certain plants like digitalis, the foxglove, which originally was for heart medicine. It's what physicians use to create heart medicine. It's the original. Deer don't like it. So they would stay away from my beds because they didn't like the digitalis. Talking about pests in the garden, it's a balance of the harmony in between all the plant material, quality of your soil, how you've taken care of things, the microorganisms, and so forth. But part of that is, can you afford to have this kind of damage to a leaf? Well, would it behoove me to come in? I have not been able to find the creatures that more than likely are coming out at night. They've done some pretty serious leaf damage here. However, my potatoes are growing underground. So there's enough vitality and health in these leaves that I'm not going to come in with a spray and spray in hopes that I'm going to catch something. Also up here in the flat where it's so hot, we have grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are tricky, and they escape quickly if you come after them. So I am not worried about these potatoes. They are getting eaten. But the potatoes underground, and I've done this for several years now, will be fine when it's time for me to pull them out of the bed. I'll have plenty of food, and I can make the decision to leave this be and not feel the need to use a spray on them or find out what's in there and they're going to do fine. Because overall, they're very healthy and vital. If you come right here and look, you'll see a spit wad right here. And underneath that spit wad is a spittle bug, or I call a spit bug. Fortunately for that guy, a good blast of water, because this bed a couple weeks ago had many more little spittles all over it. Every day I'd just come out and blast it hard with the water, and fortunately they're gone. Birds are the next issue in terms of taking your food. They're also brutal if you put new seed in the ground and they're hungry. They'll go in and scratch at your soil, especially early in the morning as they begin to feed, or else they're landing here. Now there's a couple ways to inhibit that. There's something called agrabah or rime. That's a name of two different types of, like it's a fabric, like a white fabric, like a sheet, only it's much lighter, and you can reuse it. It's like a paper. And you can just spread it on the top of your plants or on the top of your beds, and it can, during the night or the morning when birds are busy, it'll inhibit the birds coming. Birds, they don't like shiny things, so you can hang shiny ribbon on here. The wind blows it. Anything moving, it startles them. The birds will stay away. Hands in the soil. This is what doctors used to do, and they used to have what's called a physic garden, and that is every physician also a gardener and knew how to work with the symbiotic relationship between the body and the plant life, because the human body and the natural world is the oldest, most ancient relationship. It is the fundamental relationship of life.